There are just 5 days to Election Day. So far, more than 33 million Americans have cast their ballots early and safely. That includes in-person votes and mail-in ballots. Here's what's being said on the campaign trail as candidates and President Biden, who's not on the ballot, make their final pitches to those voters who have not yet voted.
5 days to go, and until the most important elections in our lifetime. And that's not hyperbole. It's going to shape what the next two generations look like. Not a joke, because so much is changing.
I've been campaigning all across Pennsylvania, been in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and we've been trying to be very, very transparent. Showed up for a debate. We already knew that was going to be a challenge.
I've faced challenges and threats for the last 5 years. I can disagree with you ideologically and politically, but I should never visit violence upon you to enforce my beliefs.
What happened to Paul Pelosi is horrible. I mean, there's no place for that in politics, and I know justice will be served.
To update us on what's happening in the much-watched race in Georgia, Nikole Killion joins us on the ground in Smyrna, Georgia. Nikole, you and your producers were in Georgia talking to Republican voters earlier this week about who they plan to support, and I want to play one of the answers you got.
So you think you're going to be a Kemp and Warnock voter this time around?
That's correct.
Okay. Is it a little weird for you, kind of, like you said, splitting party lines?
No, I think I've always, in the past, Republicans had very good candidates. But now it's such an issue that I feel like I have to go across party lines. And I think I'm close to being an independent. I mean, I've been a Republican all my life. I find that's very tough. But if they keep putting candidates out like Major Taylor Greene and Walker, then I have no choice.
Nikole, how widespread is that sentiment? Do you think there will be many Kemp-Warnock split ticket voters voting for the Republican for governor and the Democrat for Senate?
I mean, it's certainly a possibility. How widespread it could be remains to be seen. I mean, certainly our own CBS News polling has found that some Warnock supporters may support the governor, for instance. But, in terms of talking to the candidates in these races, as you know, we spoke with Governor Kemp earlier today. I also spoke with Stacey Abrams, who is running as a Democratic challenger in the gubernatorial contest. And both of them flatly told me they have no concerns that people will split the ticket. In terms of Governor Kemp, he said that, people are obviously going to vote for whoever they want, but on the same token, he just doesn't see a scenario where people are going to want to support Senator Warnock, who he claims votes with President Biden 96% of the time, a line that Herschel Walker often uses, by the way. In the case of Stacey Abrams, she thinks that the Democratic ticket will stay united, even though she has been trailing in the polls behind Governor Kemp, but she said she just doesn't see why somebody would kind of split along ideological lines, and that both she and Senator Warnock are working towards the same objectives in terms of fighting for issues with respect to the economy, health care, abortion rights. So she just doesn't see a scenario where many people are going to peel off.
Stacey Abrams, of course, ran against Governor Kemp in 2018. She has become a celebrity in the wake of that defeat. In your coverage of this race, how is this race different, and specifically, has Abrams' celebrity helped or hurt her campaign?
Yeah, well, I think she might take issue with being characterized as a celebrity. I mean, she made her name on really trying to create a voter turnout machine here in this state, and it was quite successful, perhaps not in her own bid for governor back in 2018, although, there was a record number of voters that turned out that year. But, more specifically in terms of flipping the state of Georgia, both in 2020 and 2021, which was very historic. And a lot of that was because of the ground game and the infrastructure that she laid. So her opponent certainly may try to cast her as an opponent, as a celebrity, and as someone who's getting all of this outside support from outside of the state of Georgia. But I think, Abrams feels very good about about the infrastructure that she has set up. She has told me before that she thinks that playbook will be successful for her. She said she is encouraged by the early voting turnout that we've seen in the state, that there are a record number of voters showing up, a number of African-American voters showing up, which will be critical to her being able to unseat her opponent. But that being said, again, the governor continues to paint her as someone who is this celebrity, someone who will side with President Biden and the Democrats, and someone who has tried to tear down his record. And so that has been the constant debate between these two candidates over the course of this campaign.
All right, Nikole Killion in Smyrna, Georgia. Thanks, Nikole.
You bet.